Hello everybody and welcome to another exciting episode of my art vlog. There's a lot to talk about in this episode because, well, I said in the previous episode that April I kind of overplanned. There was probably more on the list than I was going to be able to get done. I actually got a lot done in April. Not necessarily my biggest projects, but still a lot of things happened. So let's go down the list. I might also want to mention one of the most exciting things that happened in April. I am slowly but surely learning how to ride a bike. It's happening. We're on to pedaling. My legs look terrible. There's been a lot of conflict between my knees and the pedals, and there's been some smacking, and that's not really a great time, but I haven't fallen off yet, so I'm calling that a victory. I do have my helmet up there, so when I eventually move on from scooting around in the backyard and we go out to the park late at night where nobody can see me, the helmet's going to be on so we don't have any conflicts between, say, my skull and the pavement. That would not be a good conflict to have, but that's something that's exciting that's been happening for the last, I don't know, has it been 2 months? I feel like getting to the part, for somebody like me that has no coordination and took forever learning to just ride a skateboard, I think 2 months to just get to pedaling poorly on a bike is pretty good for me, so I'm happy with that progress. But instead of talking about bike riding, let us talk about art, because that's what the channel is for usually. Occasionally there's random rambling, but let's talk about some art. So, first thing on the list, I had 2 different Gobliterated related things that were occurring. First being the regularly scheduled comic strip. There were 3 strips this month. Everything happened as scheduled, except I think on one site, there was a day where I forgot to post it until like 10 o'clock at night, and I think there was at least one place where I was just like, I'll post it tomorrow. So a little slight out of schedule, but which is really stupid because I was on the computer for most of that day. I was supposed to post it and I just did not remember until the very end of the day. I think I was in digital art hell at some point and just everything else kind of fell by the wayside. Also, I'm getting a call right now. I have this big incoming call thing that's blocking my entire head in my recording, so that's great. You guys can't see that, thankfully. Okay, so Gobliterated strips, they occurred, and then there was another Gobliterated related project. I believe I mentioned the actually, I'm pretty sure I did, because I think I put it in the description of the previous episode. I learned about the Feral Comics Zine Anthology. So, Feral Publications, they do a, like I said, a zine anthology, Feral Comics. And so, and you get paid for submitting, and that's awesome. I like when I get paid for doing my art. So I actually did not ask before submitting, like, what their page length required, like if they had a page limit or something they were expecting. I probably should have asked beforehand, but it ended up being okay. I did 9 pages for the project, and let me show you what's going on here. This is going to be showing up in a future issue of Feral Comics, and I'm going to put a link right below me so you guys can check that out. The page requirement, page limit, the guy told me he doesn't publish anything over 10 pages, so the fact that I did 9, that ended up working out. I just wouldn't want to take up too much space. I want to give you guys a very, very good look at that, because that's my favorite ink job that I've done on anything, I think. So, I'm just giving you guys a real little sneak peek here. If you want to read this, you're going to have to check out that issue of Feral Comics that's coming up here. So this, a little bit of it, it addresses some of the events in the comic strip for the Feral Comics readers that do not read Gobliterated yet, but they surely will once they read this and are like, damn, that's some sweet goblin comics, homie. I want to get me some more of that. It's my plan when I am famous for my Gobliterated strip, which I'm hopefully happening. Famous at least on an underground level. I'm gonna make Fatal Queef shirts. Fatal Queef is, of course, the band name of my Goblin Boys. I do mention right there. You will be able to buy Fatal Queef merch in the future, and that will be very rad. Much like this whole comic, which is very rad. I'm quite happy with that. So there's some events. I'm not sure if I'm going to have some of what... There's a particular event that is exclusive to this comic that may or may not happen in a strip. I don't know. I need to establish that they accidentally summoned a demon dog trying to pronounce the name of a Swedish band. That might happen in the strip. I might leave that as specific to this comic. I don't know. I'm definitely going to be making more comics like this for Feral Comics in the future. We will have future installments of our Goblin Boys. So not just strips. What else happened? Lots of goblin things happened, which that actually got me thinking. I mean, October is a pretty long ways away, but I always think about Inktober pretty early in the year. I might do Goblintober, or Gobtober as I heard it called. Last year I heard about a Gobtober prompt, and it's like, if I had not already picked a prompt, I'd be doing Gobtober, which I did Orktober one year. Orktober might be a thing that I could do. Like goblins and orcs, I like both of them. It could be a combination. When I did Orktober that one year, I was following the Inktober prompt just with orcs. So that might happen, but not anytime soon. That's a long ways off. Alright, so goblin stuff, and then assemble and send the Zenfest zine. That happened early in the month, and what that refers to is, actually, I didn't say assemble, I said assemble. I wrote it, I spaced it out weird. I assembled and sent the Zenfest zine. Alright, so with my zine assembled, this refers to the Swansea Zine Festival, which is virtual this year because the whole, it's the apocalypse business, you know, a little bit of a problem, but it is occurring virtually. I'm gonna pop a little link to that in the bottom because, so my Zenfest zine, it's something I contributed to the virtual zine grab bag. There are a ton of zines you can check out. I haven't gone through them yet, but there are some things where it's like, okay, I want to check that out. And there's a link to the grab bag on the website. The Zenfest itself, I think, is, I have it written down on my planner that's on the other side of my room and I can't see it. I think it's on the 8th of this month. I'm pretty sure. So it is all, there's like a whole program of events. It's hosted through Facebook Live. I should note it's in, what is it? I think it's called British Summertime. I assumed BST stood for British Standard Time, but when I looked it up, it was British Summertime. It's like, do they change the time system based off of the seasons? I don't understand. But point is, it's not my time zone, and I did check out like how the times of the programs work based off of my time zone, and I'd have to get up at 4 in the morning to watch some of these programs, so I was a little disappointed that I'm not getting up at 4 in the morning. I mean, I could definitely, if I'm just like super crazy into like, yeah, zine culture, I gotta see all these cool zine programs, I'm gonna get up early. No, I don't get up at 4 in the morning for anything except my cat whining at me to go outside, so maybe if I can't go back to sleep after my cat wakes me up at 4, then I might watch the zine program, but I am gonna have a link provided for you guys if you do want to do that, or if you are in a time zone where that's much more convenient to you, then definitely check that out, because it sounds very cool. And there were things, some programs on there that I was interested in. So sometimes you can watch a Facebook Live recording, like not live. You can watch it later. So I'm hoping I'll be able to check that out, because I am very curious on some of those things. So that is what is happening zine-wise. And another zine thing happened that I don't have available to show you guys over here. I'd have to, I don't even remember what sketchbook I drew it in at this point. Actually, maybe I do. Maybe, I don't remember. Well, I think I showed you guys the line art for it. I'm not sure. I think I showed you guys the zine itself that I participated in. Actually, you know what? I can show you the coaster for the zine. They sent me coasters. So, there we go. There's the information on the coaster. I participated in issue number 5. And the most recent image I sent in was for issue number 6. Both of those are available on the internets. Actually, I'm going to put magic link below me so you can check that out. Okay, so that was another zine thing. There's a lot of zine stuff happening. I'm happy that zines seem to be just taking off so well for me. It's like, I haven't sold hardly any of my own zines, but I've met a lot of people and I've participated in a lot of projects because of zines, and I think that is very cool. So, yeah, zines, I'm happy. And there's even zine stuff on the May list, but we'll get to that later. The wood burnt board, I think I mentioned that in the previous episode. I was going to do some pyrography on a skateboard. I kind of don't like how it turned out. It's in the front yard. I'm not going to go get it and dust the dirt off to show you guys. I think it looks a little crusty because I don't really know how to do pyrography. And I did find the skateboard kind of hard to do wood burning on. I think it had a lot of wax on it. It probably had some kind of coating on it. In fact, if I get my skateboard over there, and there probably is some kind of coating on the wood, just as is, and then I think somebody probably put board wax on it for maximum grind facilitation. So there was a lot of like smoking of the wax and not necessarily burning. It was kind of turning into an encaustic project in some parts. So that was tricky. That's something I find is always difficult with wood burning. I've attempted to do wood burning or woodworking in general on several occasions, and every single time I find that like I'm using the complete wrong kind of wood. It's either way too damn hard, or it's way too damn soft, or it's just way too damn something. So the woodworking, that's tricky, as I've discovered. So that happened. You guys don't get to look at it. My mom thought it looked good, so there's something. What else happened? Oh, I drew Dracula. That was the next thing on my list. I drew Dracula because I liked this particular line from an Alice Cooper song, from the song Black Widow. So enjoy my sexy Dracula, with some Alice Cooper lyrics. A lot of people in the Hammer fandom on Tumblr are enjoying that and liking the line that I picked. Everybody loves a sexy Dracula. Actually, that relates to something else that's coming up in May, but again, I'll get to that once I finish my vast list of things done in April. I actually had a drawing planned. I haven't quite sketched my idea yet, but relating to that song, which it has an intro by Vincent Price, and it's amazing, and there's like a whole music video involving Vincent Price and Alice Cooper and that song, and it's amazing, and I was going to do an illustration. I didn't quite get around to that, but it's going to happen. It's going to be cool, and yeah. And then one other project that happened, I'm doing a fully digital art piece of Sylvando from Dragon Quest XI because I'm obsessed with this character. I have a very particular art piece I'm actually trying to emulate in it. I've spent like 4 days, 4 work sessions just on the line art because I'm not very good at drawing things just straight digitally, so that's quite the adventure. I did post it. There was like a digital art critique thread somewhere on DeviantArt, and I did post the line art, and it's like, is this too crusty? Is there anything I could fix? And then some questions about coloring. So hopefully I'll get some feedback, and hopefully people don't think it's hideous. I think it probably isn't as bad as I think it is in certain spots. If you don't look super close, it looks fine, but I had to sit there and look at it for 4 work sessions, so I know where all the crustiness is. Okay, so that's happening. And then, as a random unplanned project, I did some Yu-Gi-Oh! Fan art because, hell yes, I've been watching Yu-Gi-Oh! Again for the first time in like 17 years, 16 years. It's been a long time. Oh my gosh, it is a lot goofier than I remember. And part of it is actually because, I read the comics, like I read the manga when I was younger, and what I'm watching, I was really hoping I could actually find the Japanese anime, just because, I don't know, I like watching things in Japanese. I almost said Janime, I'm not sure why it came out like that. I'm more of a sub than a dub person. And also what's up on Netflix is the 4Kids version, so they edit a bunch of content out. I don't quite know what the original anime was like. There are some things where it's like, I don't know, you'll have a character that's just inexplicably pointing to somebody like this in a scene that's supposed to be tense and threatening. It's like, I know that they edited out a gun there. Or like, there'll be things I remember from the comic. There was like a much dirtier joke than what ended up happening in the show. So it's just interesting seeing how things change like that. I would much rather see the original anime and not like the boulderized version on 4Kids, which if you were an anime fan in the time I was, you know exactly what 4Kids TV was doing to anime. There's the One Piece syndicated on 4Kids disaster. So that's a whole interesting thing. But I thought it would be fun to show this off. So I had my new Yami piece. That is the illustration of Yami I did when I was 10, and I probably drew that watching the show. Look how amazing that is. Can you guys see his meaty hammer hand? Oh, it's fabulous. Oh my goodness. Yeah, that show has brought me a lot of joy. I didn't even bother to color in the Millennium Puzzle right there. Oh my goodness. I actually got a drawing of Yami back when New Type magazine was a thing, an anime magazine. They had a fan art section, and I got a drawing I did of Yami published, and I wish I still had the magazine. I kind of remember what the cover of that magazine was. So if anybody has a place online where they have issues of New Type scanned, I probably might be able to go off of the cover. I might remember the year. I know I was in middle school. I want to say it was in 7th grade. Because what I remember it looking like is how I would have drawn in the 7th grade. So I might have to do some internet sleuthing. I know they published the picture really small. They're probably like, yeah, we want to include this child's work, but we don't want to look at this nightmare too closely. Good times, good times. Okay, so that was my extra. What is that thing at the very? Oh yeah, Sylv 3. I forgot I did that at the very beginning of the month. I completed my Sylvando from Dragon Quest in terrible, salacious outfits. series. I'm saying I'm completing it at number 3 because if I continue this anymore, it's just going to get progressively worse. He was like not really wearing a whole lot of outfit in the last one. It's already getting worse in my sketchbooks. You guys don't need to be subjected to that. Okay, so that happened, but I haven't even talked about what was supposed to be the biggest project this month that got the absolute least attention. Maybe the Gobliterated Zine was the biggest project this month. The Gobliterated Zine submission, that was the biggest project. So I mentioned something about Camp NaNoWriMo and how I usually use that for comic planning and how I was going to use that to plan Whoa Awesome Space Babe 6. Well, that kind of didn't happen very much. I have 7 pages scripted with a lot of notes. I had a lot of notes that I had already made about the time that I was doing issue 5. So that I have some framework for what's going to happen. There's kind of a chunk in the middle where I'm not sure what to do. But once I figure that out, once I get over that little section, I should be able to script it pretty well. There was not really any graphic novel planning other than just a few notes of random ideas, things about character development that I wanted to address and get around to. So there was like kind of some Whoa Awesome Space Babe happening. But one thing that did happen is, you know what I should have done? I should have grabbed one of my Whoa Awesome Space Babe pages. In fact, you know what? I'm going to pause real quick and I'm going to go grab one and we will continue on with what I was about to discuss here. Alright, I'm back. So, this is a page from Whoa Awesome Space Babe issue 5. I want you guys to be able to see how it's formatted on this piece of paper. I don't want to get up and grab something else. I was going to show you guys how it looks like. It's from a spiral bound sketchbook. That's what's important here. It's just not terrible quality paper. It is the good old Strathmore sketch paper that I like so much that came out of... Actually, here's something I didn't talk about. I painted the cover of my new sketchbook. Enjoy Eddie for a moment there while I continue on my discussion of sketchbook paper. So it's basically like this kind of sketchbook paper. It's just in a different style notebook. Is it actually the same size? Approximately. Oh wow, it actually is. So yeah, it is the same size paper that you would get in here, just with the like the perforated part removed. Just about. It's just that this page, it's from the top spiral kind of pad, so that's where the perforation was. So yeah, it is, I'm using paper that is approximately this size when I'm doing my comics. It is the Strathmore recycled sketch quality paper, and I've been doing that just because I'm very, very weird about using my Bristol board. I use that for some very specific things. Markers a lot, actually. To bring our attention back to Yugi here, he is drawn on a strip of Canson comic book art board, which I have right here because I want to talk about something that's going to be happening in the future with Whoa Awesome Space Babe. With the graphic novel, mostly it was because of like Gobliterated. This is done on comic book artboard. You might be able to see where the bleed lines and everything are. So this is done on basically Bristol quality paper, and I did find the inking was going so much better and it looks so much nicer. And why the hell do I keep doing my comics on less nice quality paper? I mean, it still looks good, but I'd probably be doing myself a lot more favors by using nicer quality paper. So that's going to happen for the graphic novel. I want to use actual Bristol board, and I want to make this as good as it possibly can be. But there is a problem. So this is a comic book artboard. This is the Canson brand paper, and this is too goddamn big for my scanner. In fact, when I was scanning this obliterated comic, which you'll notice is not even the full Bristol board, I had to cut off about that much so I could fit this onto the scanner. I'm a little limited with scanning, so that's why I have all of these nice artboards that have never once been used, because that is just annoying. This would be, it's very hard to see on camera the light blue lines that indicate like where is the bleed art, where things are going to be trimmed, all that. You can't really see it, but there is like a whole proper format thing going on here. And so I was thinking, as long as I had this proportion, maybe, like, I went and downloaded some templates online. I'm gonna print those out so I have like a comic book artboard proportion based off of at least an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. I will say I have no idea what it was I had in mind when I came up with the proportion for Whoa Awesome Space Babe. It was supposed to be like an inch away from the edge, but if you are observant, you will notice that an inch is not necessarily the same in every direction, and I'm not quite sure why that happened. Like, my art isn't centered. I don't know what happened. Something weird occurred in the process. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make issue 6 like a proper comic book proportioned page. I'm going to use issue 6 as a way to test that out, and then I'm going to put that into action in the graphic novel. Another thing that I got out, and you are not going to be able to see any of the boundary lines at all because there was a brutal assault on Copic markers that occurred on this. This is the size of manga manuscript paper. This is another illustration from when I was probably middle school. And I'm going to show you this in comparison to the size of the comic book artboard. You can see that's a lot smaller. This fits onto the scanner better. So if you can see, you really can't. You can't see anything through the horrendous vomit. Oh gosh, it's such a shame that I treated my Copics like this. Somewhere in this nightmare, you can kind of see there are boundary lines, and it's proportioned based off of a manga page, and this is closer to the size that I'm personally comfortable with. So this is very big, and it's very vertically oriented. This size of paper is something I'm a lot more, it's closer to what I work with. Actually, let's see, this is it compared to the Whoa Awesome Space Babe page. I don't quite, can I see through this and figure out? No, I don't really know. So I'm kind of thinking manga manuscript paper is something I'm going to want to look at for the sake of, for what I'm going to do with the graphic novel. And that's going to fit on my scanner. It's going to be the small size that I like to work on. I like to work small. Haters gonna hate. I've had teachers get mad at me. Well, I had one teacher get mad at me, but we don't care about him. So basically, that's just what I've been thinking about in terms of making the comic. Changes to how I'm making the comic. I even have some cardstock lying around that I could do the comic on. I just want to make sure that I keep the whole bleed lines, trim lines, because that has to do with how they're going to cut the paper for assembling the book. And that's kind of important to keep in mind. It's just something I'm not really used to thinking about, because all my comics are just something happens and I post it online, and I really only have to think about book assembly when I'm doing my zines. And actually doing the zines has helped me think about how all this crap gets assembled eventually. So, so yeah, that's what I've been thinking about. I will look into getting some manga manuscript paper. Okay, this is better. Okay, there was a little bit of technical difficulties in there. Apparently I spent so much time rambling, my phone ran out of space in the middle of that video, but we're fixed up, and I think that's the cue that I need to stop talking about all the shit I got done in April. We're not even on the list of things to be done for May, but I got 36 more minutes to ramble at this point, so we're good. I promise not to talk for that long, but what is going to happen in the month of May? Whole lot of crap, but some of these projects aren't going to be huge. Some of them are. Okay, so the first things first is, of course, Gobliterated. I have 2 strips planned for May, 2 strips scheduled for May. I have a zine submission I'm doing. I don't remember if I mentioned... Did I mention this in the previous episode? I feel like I would have mentioned something about a Guy Fieri fanzine in the previous episode if I knew about it yet. But if I did not, somebody on a Facebook zine group, they're doing a Guy Fieri fanzine, so I'm going to contribute a little comic. I did ask them about page length requirements because I learned my lesson from the Gobliterated zine that I should probably ask this beforehand. I haven't heard back from them. Maybe they sent me a message. I don't know. I'm going to try to make it kind of short because I don't want to take up a bunch of space that could be for other artists. So that's going to happen. And then I have a little collage thing I'm doing for a zine. Somebody I did a zine trade with. I might once again pop a little magic link down there so you can check them out. So that's going to happen. The Vincent Price and Alice Cooper picture I'm hoping is going to eventually happen. I just realized I didn't put my Sylvando fan art on here. Well, I'm gonna get to that eventually. I have a note that just simply says Big Stupid Gun Plans. That's gonna be a very cool project that I'm just gonna plan it this month. It might not necessarily happen. It's a paper mache thing, so it's gonna be best done when it gets a little hotter, so it's gonna be optimally done later into the summer. I might make a video about that. So you guys are eventually going to see what's happening with this supposed, what I'm calling the Big Stupid Gun. Where am I on my list? I said WASP 6 prep done? Maybe? I'm hoping. I don't know how many pages this one's going to end up being. I don't know what's going to be going on with it other than cool stuff. That's all I know. Whatever happens is gonna be cool. And then I made a little note that I want to do more warm-up drawing sessions in the morning before I embark on any of my projects. Just do like anatomy studies, even still life studies, just improve my draftsmanship skills, work on different media, do a little more practice. So that's gonna happen. And then the thing that I wrote this down on my planner like last year because I forgot to participate last year. It's Lee Week is coming up. That is going to be a week-long celebration that the Christopher Lee fans on Tumblr celebrate. We just appreciate the hell out of Christopher Lee because it was cool. And also his friends, Vincent Price and Peter Cushing, we also celebrate them as well, because Vincent Price and Christopher Lee had the same birthday, and Peter's was the day before that. So there is going to be some Christopher Lee art happening, and I'm not going to do what I did the year I did participate, where it was more of an Inktober thing, where I drew something every day. I'm going to have some drawings already prepared, so that's going to happen throughout the month, and then I will post them during the actual Lee Week celebration. So that's going to happen, and it's going to be awesome. Is that all? Okay, finally, I think I'm done rambling on my massive list of things to do. Oh my goodness. That's pretty good if my to-do list was my completed... Throwing my paper around. if my list of things that I completed was so long that I ran out of space on my phone, that means I was pretty productive. Some of those May projects aren't going to be massive, so that is good. And I think that is it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening to me ramble and sticking through the occasional technical difficulties. I'm definitely going to be making, I don't know, I have some ideas for what I want to do with the channel. I want to do more tutorial type things, more in progress art stuff. That's going to happen in the future. I'm just kind of want to make the videos a little more interesting, do thumbnails. I'm going to magically put text on the screen. I'm going to put more effort into that, just make it a little more fun to watch. So I appreciate everybody who is watching right now. Please like and subscribe and comment random garbage at me, and I hope you have a wonderful day making art.